Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, depends on where you're located. I'm very glad you guys could join us today for this session. Today, we will be covering Rich Text Editor and its mail merge functionality. Our objective today will be to design a simple mailer application to bind the customer list, or in this case, we will be working with the employee table today, and we will be sending a simple Christmas card invitation to all our employees for our upcoming Christmas party, for example. So with that, let's get started. I don't have many slides here. All I'm going to be doing is coding live, so this is a great opportunity for you to see how this thing actually works. Let me go back to my Visual Studio here, and I'm going to go ahead and start a new project. Let's call it, let's put it in here, select folder, and I'm going to call it mailer. Click OK. If you have seen my previous webinars on how to work with the Rich Text Editor, you would remember that binding UI facilities of the Rich Text Editor is as simple as invoking a SmartPak in design time. So let's see how to do that. First, I'm going to go ahead and drop a ribbon control right here. Let me go ahead and delete the default pages, and I'm going to go and drop the Rich Text and control in here. Let me dock this to parent container. Notice when I invoke the SmartPak here, because the Rich Text Editor detected the presence of the ribbon bar, it automatically generated this helper SmartPaks for me. So I can create a file bar, I can create a home bar, insert bar, page, and the mailing bar. This is actually the one we're going to be exploring today. Let's add a couple of more table review, and we're done. So you see, with a couple of clicks, I have already designed the most functional text editor. I can open new files, I can save files, I can print preview, and so forth. So let me run this to show you how it looks. There we go. A fully functional text editor is ready for me. I can go ahead and view it in a different views. I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can open existing documents or save this document. So our objective today is to be able to design letters and email them. If I go to the mailings tab, this is where all the mail merge facilities are. Notice that the insert mail merge field or view merge data fields are disabled. This is because the Rich Text Editor control is currently not bound to any data. Let's see what happens when we bind it to a data. I'm going to go ahead here and let me quickly create a dummy class. I'm going to call it employee, and I'm going to declare a name, and I'm going to declare an address field. And I'm going to say rich edit control, options, mail merge, data source, and this is what I'm going to be binding to when I want my mail merge data to be bound to the Rich Text Editor. So let me create a simple dummy list of my employees. Data source, new employee data source, and let's add a couple of employees. New employee name John, and let's new employee Steve. And I'm gonna bind this to by a mail merge data source. Now if you run this, and we go back to our mailings, notice what happened. Automatically the insert merge field and view merge data become available because we have the data available, right? Notice what else happened. The fields automatically got picked up from the underlying data source. So we can easily insert the address, or we can easily insert the name. So if we go say view merge data, we see John. Because we don't have any address, let's add an address here. Address, First Street. Jeff just came into my office saying that my sound is not coming across very loud and clear, and there's this lot of static. How about the sound now, guys? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Azrit. It's just
okay.
A little, sometimes it goes in and out.
Does it go in and out because of the network issues or the microphone?
I think, yeah, your microphone placement. It's more the sound in your background. It's really fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, Jeff is trying to give me a new microphone. All right, let's continue. I will post all this code online, so you guys watching here for the first time or experiencing rich edit, control, and mail merge functionalities for the first time, you'll be able to actually go through the code and understand what is going on behind the scenes. Right now, my objective here is to show you the mail merge facilities here, and for you to get an overview and an understanding what you will need to do to accomplish something like this. But all the source code will be available in my blog post later today. So let's continue here. We'll call this 7th Avenue. Let's go back and run this. Go here, merge. So it's a name, address, and the new line, view merge data. Notice I don't have the, I'm only displaying the first record, but because we have this neat little data navigator control, let me go here to my data navigator, and let me dock this to folder. There we go. Or data source, data source. I can assign the data navigator to the same data source, and they will magically work together. So let's see. It's coming up. There we go. So let's go ahead and see. Insert name, view merge data, next, previous. Pretty cool, huh? So this is what happens when you bind a simple data source to the rich text editor. Automatically, all the mail merge facilities get enabled, and you are ready to go. Let's complicate these things a little bit. Let's actually bind to a database. I'm gonna go ahead and say add new item. So far, do you guys have any questions so far? Let me check the question log.
Yeah, there are some. There are two questions.
What are the questions?
From Jose, it says, is it possible to implement the rich text editor in a user control instead of a ribbon form and have all the functionality that you have in the ribbon form?
Yeah, you can. You can drop the rich text editor in the user control. There's no problem with that. In fact, Jose, just for you, for my example, I'll put it into a user control for the code that I'm gonna post. Is there any questions?
Yeah. Also from Jeff, any way the HTML editor could do this?
Do you mean the HTML editor for the ASPX HTML editor? I'm afraid not. No,
Yeah, that's what he meant.
no. The functionality and the purpose of these products are completely different. Um, I would suggest to go to our support center, log a suggestion for that. But try to understand the functionality and the purpose of the controls are completely different. The the ASPX HTML editor is designed to give you a quick and easy way to edit HTML on your website, while the rich text editor is designed to perform uh, the complete word processing tasks. So we do have the ability to export to HTML. So don't get me wrong, Jeff. But the purpose of the controls are completely different. Okay. Can the mail merge be invoked without UI so that you can create better letters? Aha. Uh, as of now, yes, this is a question from Raz. As of now, you have to instantiate a secondary rich edit control, and you can do the mail merges in the background with the help of the secondary rich edit control. We have really cool things planned for the next year. Stay tuned for our roadmap announcement, where we publish some cool things that we are planning for rich editor. I don't wanna say anything right now. Let's just wait for the roadmap, which should be due next week. Can we use mail merge in XAF? That's a good question. I do not know, Bill. I would assume we should be able to, but I do not know. We will wait for somebody from XAF to give us information about that. Okay. All right. So let me continue and let me start complicating these things. So by complicating meaning, I will start using the. Oh, Nate is already answered your question, Bill. He says yes. Rich text editor and mail merge is fully functional. Let's say yeah. Yoo-hoo! This is great. There's another question. Can the rich edit control be in the layout control and attach all the menu functionality within the layout control on a ribbon? I'm not sure I'm understanding the question correctly. Do you mean if we put the rich text editor control inside the layout control, and whether the ribbon will be working really nicely with the editor? If that's the question, then yes, absolutely. There are in fact ways to dynamically assign the bar manager or ribbon manager to a rich editor control. In fact, I should do a blog post about that. So yeah, there are ways to do that, Tim. Okay, let me go back to my code here, and let me just say a new data set and link. Click OK. And what I'm gonna do is add a new database connection for the documents DevExpress components data. Put a north string. Click OK. Labels, and I am gonna do employees. The reason I'm doing employees instead of customer is because A, our objective today is to send emails with the greeting card to invite to a Christmas party, and B, I really want to show you how to do a mail merge for pictures instead of straight up fields. So that's why I'm using the employees table. And as you know, in the Northwind database, in the employees table, we have this field called photo, which contains our pictures. Let's go back to a form and remove the employee class that was the mockup, and instead choose the employee. The employee data table. Let's say data source equals to new adapters get data. And just like I did before, my screen resolution is too low, so I hope you guys can read it. All I did is I declared that data table called data source and used the employee table adapter to populate it. Nothing changed in my binding. Let's go ahead and run this. It keeps going back to the bottom. Insert field. Now you see all the fields available in the data table are automatically available for me in this drop down. So this is pretty cool. I can say dear first name. We are inviting you and your family to attend a Christmas party on December, let's say 21st at the Staples Center in downtown LA. Regards, Bill Smith. We go ahead and save this so we can reuse it for now. If I go ahead and say show merge field, I can go ahead and notice that the names are changing. Let's do an address here where we might be able to send this letter to. So this is London. We need a zip code. So let's, what else should we put? Region. No, let's put country. Can you guys see this? So as I'm scrolling, I'm seeing the new addresses for every single record. So that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and make sure I save this copy as well. So that's great. Remember I mentioned earlier that there is a way to actually mail merge pictures. The pictures are not really straightforward to mail merge. While we have all these really nice facilities for the plain text fields, we need to do some work to mail merge pictures. Let me show you how to do that. I have prepared a couple of code snippets here that we're going to use for this purpose. The first thing we will need to do is to register a service that is going to be used to translate our binary into a picture. We're going to be taking the field photo from our table. We're going to be using this table as a result, and then we're going to be using a URI stream provider to supply pictures from our database as a mail merge field. The implementation of the URI stream provider is really simple. Let me explain what is going on here first. The URI stream provider is a service used by the rich text editor internally to look up the actual data for any images or for any URI for that matter, and download them from somewhere. You can download it from a web, or you can download it from a local disk, or in this case, because we are merging to a database, we will be downloading it from our database. Another rule that we made here for our mail merge reasons is we said, okay, any image that starts with db img, we will know that it needs to be fetched from the the database. And the implementation of getStream is really straightforward. If the URI that is being requested actually starts with DB image, then we will look it up based on the field, which in this case a photo. We will look the binary bytes. We will look the bytes in the database and just wrap them in a memory stream, and then we're done. Let's go ahead and run this. I will open the. Somebody's mic is too loud. 1 second. Perfect. I will open my letter here. Copy this. Pretty cool, huh? If you want to see the shortcut, the way we embed the picture is by using this include picture tag, and then we are supplying the URI. Once we supply the URI using dbimg column // we automatically get to use this dbURI stream provider. Okay, makes sense? So quick recap. We registered the IURI stream provider. We passed the same data source that we used for the mail merge, and we created a rule saying that any URI or any image that starts with dbimg column // we will supply that from our database. Okay. Let me see if there are any questions. Are there any questions so far about this?
Yeah, there's one question.
Okay.
Could I use this to create a template without having any data bound to it, i.e. just a list of fields that the user can use?
Can I use that to create a template without having any data bound to it, just a list of fields that the user can use?
Yes.
Not really sure what you mean. How are you gonna supply the data, Raz? List of fields. Are you? Yeah, you can. You can create a really simple model. You can create a really simple model without any data and just assign it to, as a data source with no data. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. How about if data is laid bound? Yeah, if the data is laid bound, it's fine. So, like for example, in this case, you see, first I showed you how to bind it to a strongly typed employee class, and later I showed you how to use a data set. So as long as you know your models, you're fine. In fact, the insert field commands can be static. You can predefine those fields or those commands yourself ahead of time and not have them being auto-generated from the underlying data source. So all those things are absolutely possible. Okay?
There's one more from Vladimir. How to control image size with include picture? Do you see this question?
How to control the image size with include picture? You don't. You control that on the image itself. Okay, and Vladimir is actually, he pasted it into the wrong window, and that's Vladimir is our guy.
Huh.
I'm trying to create template editor. Thanks. Yeah, Raz, for your purposes, just pre-build the list of fields that you're gonna be inserting, and you don't really have to supply a data source. Can I show one-to-many examples such as legal form with two signatures?
Да, лапочка, привет. Ну как дела?
1 second. We have a technical difficulty here. So Somebody, microphone. There we go. Apologize for that. Okay, so where's the question? Can I show a one-to-many example such as legal form with two signatures? It's one form but may have detail like orders and order details. Yes, Richard, it's possible to do master detail merges. Absolutely. It's all how you define the data, your data source. In fact, we do have an example of such a thing: employee and employee, customer and employee and employee customer. If you look at our main demo, you will see something like that. In fact, there are a couple of questions in the support center and KB articles explaining that. When I write a follow-up blog post about it, I will be sure to include the reference for you, Richard. Great. Is there a suggestion to store or resize image size? Nate, I'm not sure. Our guys from the team are here. They are watching the live questions and helping me answer some of them. So I will wait for them to answer that. I don't know if there's a suggestion for that right now or not. We can look it up after. Okay, so are there any more questions about the IUI stream provider? Because it's it wasn't as hard as just binding so the mail merging of the photo is not as easy as mail merging straight fields, because the fields are not auto-generated from the underlying data source, but it's really not complicated at all, as long as you know what the IUI stream provider is doing inside the rich text editor. You can implement magic with that. Okay, so let's move on. Let me save this here, so we can go back to the same letter, and let's add some functionality to send an email from the letter that we have typed. Okay, I have sending an email is requires a lot of code, so I'm not going to be typing those things by hand. Like I said, I prepared the snippet earlier, and I'm going to be using them, but I will explain what I'm doing. The first thing to note is that I'm going to be using the default .NET SMTP client to send the letters, and the hardest part about sending a letter is to correctly populating the MIME for the mail message and correctly resolving images and attachments and so forth. I'm going to show you how to do that using a custom exporter for the rich text edit control. So the process is simple. We'll new up a new mail message, and then create a new mail message exporter helper objects, and just run the export on it. The exporter code is right here. Copy paste that, and we'll go over it with you in a second. And all the necessary references, and all the necessary references, and let's add the attachment class. As well. Functional build. And let's add this. There we go. Success. Let me show you what's going on in here. Our message exporter must inherit from IUI Provider. The reason is that the IUI Provider will be used to generate the specific CSS or image URIs. And if you know, for email messages, we have to prefix our images. We have to first attach the images into the mail message itself, and we have to prefix every every image with a simple CID column tag, so content ID. So by using the IUI provider, we can actually intercept how the HTML is generated when we export, and supply the correct the image name and append that content ID prefix. Okay. The process is really simple. Our exporter takes in the control that we're working on and the message that we want to populate. When we call the invoke, we're gonna add a new view, new HTML view to the message, and when that view is being generated, first we are hooking into the before export routine of the control. The reason being, we would like to change the encoding of our export. So this is how you do this. You subscribe to the before export routine, and this is where you can change the encoding. Next, we are generating the HTML content from our document. So we're using the whole document range, and we are pulling get HTML text on it. While we are getting the HTML text, the internals of the rich edit will do all the work to generate HTML. And because, like I said, we are deriving from IUI Provider, methods that are being implemented, like create image URI or create CSS URI, will be called. So we can actually supply the correct image name. Okay? So let me put a couple of breakpoints here to see that this in fact is happening. So we click on send, F10, 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 F5. Okay, let me just put this breakpoint in here. Do another one. Let's look at the HTML that's being generated. Perfect. Rich edit control. Let's add an image here. Open desktop letter. Now let's see what happens. You see, because we have the image in our document, the create image URI is invoked. We automatically get the whole image that we have with dimensions and whatnot. We have the relative path for that. We can maintain a counter so that we can generate the correct attachment content IDs. And that's it. The image 0 is in. Now if you look at the HTML, let me in fact copy that code somewhere you guys can see in here and look for CID. Oh, there we go. CID. So you see every image that is being exported by the rich text editor went through our IUI provider and was correctly added to HTML. So that's pretty cool. So this is how you actually generate the HTML or any custom attributes that you require. So on top of this, you can create your mail clients, your whatever you wish. Okay. Let me run this. That's pretty cool. So right now, I'll take any questions that you guys might have. And
Hey,
I will be,
Azra.
yeah, and I will be posting the source code for this shortly. Okay. So what do we have, Amanda?
That was one of the questions, is where can we get the source code? Okay,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, I will be posting the source code later in the day, in with a full functional code, so you can actually build your project on top of this. I'm not gonna provide, of course, the mail server passwords and whatnot. So if you guys gonna test this, you're gonna use your own accounts. This is why, if you remember, in my code here, I actually commented it out I actually commented out the actual sending part, but you guys can just put in your own SMTP server and you'll be fine. The most important thing for you when you browse the code is to understand how the exporter works and how uh, the IUI provider works, because this is where you have all the power and this is how you can control the generated HTML and massage and tweak things the way you wish. Okay, so the source code will be available shortly today. Any other questions?
Yes, from Alessandro.
Okay.
Is it possible to bind to a data set?
Yeah, of course. This is exactly what we're doing here right now, Alessandro. We are binding to a data set. Uh, in the first few minutes of the presentation, I did the binding to a simple mock list with a simple employee object, but then I switched and complicated it and actually pulled data from the Northwind database using a data set. Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, it doesn't matter if you bind it to a strongly typed list or a data set. All the cool UI facilities will automatically be generated for you. Next.
Richard asks, he says, and for Silverlight RIA services, examples?
That's a good question. That's a good suggestion, actually. Let me just tell you guys that all the functionality, all the core mail merge functionality, be that for the WinForms, WPF, or Silverlight, are the same. So if the binding mechanism in Silverlight is a little bit different as far as fetching data onto the client, so don't be scared that the model for mail merge will be different. It will be absolutely the same. And in fact, if we do not have any examples of RIA services binding, I'm sure we should have it. And we have the team from the Rich Edit watching here, and we'll make the note and create a couple of examples for you if we can. That's a really, really good suggestion. Thank you, Richard. What else do we have, Amanda?
That's it so far.
Well, I see a question. How can client use this? What do you mean, Kartik? Nate is saying that ASPX HTML edit output can be read in extra rich. Yeah, of course.
He was asking earlier, is there going to be an ASPX rich text edit?
It's unlikely. It is unlikely that we're gonna pursue that avenue, but you will never know. You'll never know. Again, like I explained earlier, the purpose of and the direction of the two controls are different. And while SPX HTML editor is great for what it's doing, there is a lot of things that we hope to build on top of the full-blown rich editor that we have. Okay. Can the controls be rich edit control after the data has been merged, be loaded into a report to display with other reports? That's a good question. That's a good question. I do not know, Tim. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question. Let's follow up later on. You can email me at. In fact, we have Seth, the master of all reports, watching here. She should be able to figure it out with me as well. Tim, email us at my email is azra@devexpress.com, and if I'm misunderstanding the question, we'll try to figure it out. Okay. Nate is saying, one feature I want to implement is when a datetime property is selected, I can show a dialog asking for the format of the datetime and insert that as the merge field. I've been unsuccessful. Is there a piece missing for this to happen? I am not sure, Nate, how the formatting is done in when you insert custom fields like that. Send me an email. We will follow up with the team. If I've created a template before and now I have that available, how can I invoke the mail merge automatically? Russ, it's very simple. You just say document.mail merge and you're done. Or if you have pre-built a template with all the fields, as soon as you bind it to a data source, all the fields will be picked up automatically. Okay. I think that's it, Amanda, right?
Did you answer Tony's? How do you display a collection of items in the message body as either a list, table, or grid?
So collection of items perhaps as a list or table in a mail merge. Tony, we do support tables. You can design tables in the documents. As far as dropping a field that is a collection, it is currently not possible. Okay. Again, if I'm misunderstanding your question, send me an email, and we'll figure it out. Okay, I want to thank you guys again for attending. I hope this has been informative. I will be working on getting the source code out so you can actually try it out yourselves. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. We will see you next time. What do we have next, Amanda?
We have one more webinar tomorrow. It's creating your own financial indicators with ASP.NET, a walkthrough on how to create a new custom indicator and add it to its own pane with our charting evangelist, Brian Wood. That's our final webinar of the week. And then a quick peek into next week. Next Monday, we have another Ask DevExpress. Mehul is back with the ASP.NET team to answer all your questions regarding the platform and MVC products with the Ask DevExpress series. And Tuesday, we welcome Andrew Connell, SharePoint MVP, as he presents SharePoint, as he presents an introduction to SharePoint 2010 for developers. If you've ever wanted to jump on the SharePoint 2010 bandwagon, this is the session for you. You'll learn about the various options you have in standing up a SharePoint development environment. Then he'll explore the developer tools and build a container to store some data with a content type, list template, and list instance. Finally, you'll learn the best places to go to get information and help going forward from books, classes, and online forums.
That's good.
So that's what's coming up.
Yeah, so this is what's coming up this month, right?
Yeah, but we have a whole lineup scheduled. Currently, I think it's scheduled through March. So everybody, you can check them out at devexpress.com/webinars.
And by the way, if you guys would like to see more of any or to see live presentation of any topic about the rich text editor, please email me and make a request. We'll make sure to squeeze it into our next webinar. We are planning an additional webinar very soon, sometime next month, where you guys will have a chance to meet the team and talk to the team directly and ask them a question. We haven't scheduled the date yet, but please stay tuned to our DevExpress/webinars page to get that. This is going to be really that webinar is going to be really cool. You'll actually get a chance to ask those questions directly to the team and ask them how they overcome different challenges and implement certain things. So please keep an eye open on that page and come join us for that meeting. Okay, thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Amanda.
Everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ezra. Thanks to the team, too. And again, if you missed anything from this webinar, you want to review previous webinars, visit us on the DevExpress channel at tv.devexpress.com. Again, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for choosing DevExpress.